If somebody is writing the script for Indian Premier League 2020, then Alfred Hitchcock is going to be extremely proud of that scriptwriter. Yes, the suspense has been kept alive till the last week, till the last four matches. I mean, it doesn't get better than this for a neutral viewer. But for fans of these franchises who are fighting for a place in the playoff, it's their heart in their mouth right now. It's the same for the players, it's the same for the team management, and nobody really knows what will happen. Perhaps the teams which will be playing their last league matches on Tuesday and Wednesday, Monday and Tuesday rather, will be at a slight advantage because the scenario will be clear in front of them. They would know what is needed of them to qualify for the playoffs. I'm saying this because Saturday once again provided two results which have ensured that teams who were closer to the top of the table haven't tumbled down. They're still there, but they haven't really booked their place in the playoff. Delhi Capitals, their fourth loss in a row. Royal Challengers Bangalore, their third loss in a row. Mumbai Indians are up to 18 points, and that pretty much guarantees them the top spot. They are once again finishing at the top of the league. The team to beat, the defending champions, have played like champions. But it's all crumbling now. It's all crumbling. It's going haywire for the Delhi Capitals. Couldn't bat, couldn't bowl. RCB couldn't bat, put up a fight with the ball, but SRH, Jason Holder, coming in and doing it for them. My name is Arnab, and we'll talk about those two matches and look forward to two very, very interesting matches that are coming up today on Super Sunday. Joining me is Rasesh Mandani. Rasesh has been having a little bit of trouble with his internet, and we'll see if he can join us right now. Rasesh, hi. Uh, Another day of results which have gone in a way that IPL, the mystery of IPL is still intact. Your first thought about the performances of both Delhi Capitals and Royal Challengers Bangalore?
Yeah, we'll quickly go through the Saturday's matches before we set up what each team needs to do to make to the playoffs. Now, Arnab, it's now sort of come to a stage where every game matters. So the four remaining playoff league matches will matter as far as the final spots in the playoffs are concerned. Delhi and Bangalore both had an opportunity to win their respective matches and seal their place in the playoffs. But both of them failing to do that, highly disappointing. Like you said, now worrying signs for both the camps as well. And the thing is, both of them sitting pretty on 14, one would imagine, with the others still having some room to catch up, but they can catch up. So either of them can still be knocked out. So what the two losses from Mumbai, from Delhi and Bangalore have done is made the Monday encounter between the two sides a straight shoot-off, a virtual quarterfinal to make it into the playoffs. Again, very disappointing batting performances from both the sides, basically giving their bowlers nothing to play with. 110 from Delhi and 120 from RCB. At least in the evening encounter with Bangalore's match, the wicket was flowing a little bit, so it was a bit challenging, and they sort of got trapped into the Sunrisers Hyderabad typical way of operation of taking the pace of the ball, slower deliveries, Rashid Khan, all of that, and Bangalore having no second gear or no plan B as such. But the Delhi performance is now sort of quite alarming for a Delhi Capitals fan. I mean, you were talking about you not wanting a Delhi Kolkata final for personal reasons. Now it's imagining like both your sides are in trouble or not. So that's not good news for you.
Not good news for me at all, but not good news in general for DC supporters who who perhaps must have thought that finally they have a team which can actually go on and win the championship. But even if they qualify for the playoffs, the kind of rut that they have been stuck in, they really don't have any answer to it. I mean, this is what I'm like. Shikhar Dhawan scores two back-to-back centuries, and now suddenly he just doesn't know how to get runs. So that's the problem. That's been the problem with Delhi for a while now. Their batting, the top order batting, has been struggling for a while, but we'll see how Ricky Ponting manages to pump them up for this last match against RCB, which, as you mentioned, is pretty much a quarterfinal. But let's remind our fans that even if these two teams lose, any of one of these teams loses, whichever team loses might still be able to make it, because some of the other teams, their net run rate is so bad that DC and RCB can still qualify by staying on 14 points. But we'll talk more about it in our first segment, the battle, where we'll set up the two matches: CSK versus KXIP. CSK, nothing to lose. KXIP, everything to lose. So KXIP, it's pretty straight for them. They need to win, and they need to win big. And for that, they need two people to come good: Mohammad Shami with the ball, Chris Gale with the bat, if they want to beat CSK comprehensively and improve that net run rate while they move up to 14 points. And the other match, KKR versus RR. That again, one team has to win by a massive margin, because remember, RR minus 0.5, KKR minus 0.4, which is quite a long distance away from the minus 0.1 that both DC and RCB are setting on. So it might just be that even after winning the match, RR and KKR, the winner of that match might still be knocked out. So big victories is what KXIP and either of the two teams need today.
Yes, I think there's no doubt that Hyderabad, that RR and KKR would both be cheering CSK on to see if Punjab lose today, because that's the best case scenario for them. Punjab loses to CSK, Hyderabad loses to Mumbai, then that provides an automatic opportunity for the winner in the today's evening match to go through. So one of KKR and RR could go through it, but both of those are not necessarily probable possibilities. I mean, Hyderabad will be up against it. Hyderabad is looking good at the moment, and all they need to do is win that Tuesday encounter against Mumbai and go through, because their run rate is far superior. And Punjab, what they need to do is win today and then hope that some of the other results go their way. So that's why each of these teams which are in contention would be watching the other very, very closely. You're right. I mean, I think for Kings 11 Punjab point of view, the first afternoon match of the day, they would need to probably not just try and win big. And in that sense, there could not have been a better incentive for someone like a KL Rahul to bat a little bit more freely, like we know he can, because that might just provide a little bit of impetus to the top order batting, which seems to be they're getting runs, but the problem is not getting runs quick enough, and perhaps Gale needs someone at the other end who needs to attack his way.
Yes, but CSK will be unforgiving. They would now know that it was a matter of just one more victory. It was a matter of winning, closing out one of those games, perhaps the match against DC, where they leaked 21 runs in the last over, where Jadeja could not keep a lid on runs, could not keep Akshar Patel quiet. And that would have been interesting. So heartbreak perhaps towards the end of the season for CSK fans, whose team has now started winning, and it was just a matter of perhaps winning one of those matches. So they would ensure, they would try to pile on as much misery as possible on the opponent whom they are facing. If they've done that to RCB in the previous matches, they've done that to KKR. Now it would just be the turn of Anil Kumble and KL Rahul. But let's talk about the KKR versus RR match. It's very peculiar, because this has to be a victory by, say, a mammoth margin. It has to be a victory by over 100 runs or something. I don't know. I've not calculated the maths of it, but that's what it seems like, because it's a big gap. And SRH, as you mentioned, are very well placed. They are on 12 points. They have 0.5 net run rate, and they just need to win. But remember, if they lose this match, SRH, which is coming up later, they would be knocked out, because one of these three teams is expected to go on to 14 points at least. So SRH losing would be good for MI and DC. Sorry, for DC and RCB, because from the looks of it, KXIP, KKR, and RR, none of them can actually beat the net run rate that both DC and RCB are sitting on, unless they win by a huge margin.
Yeah, so Hyderabad have always got the advantage here because they're playing last. So they're playing on Tuesday, so they will know exactly what they need to do. But I think from Calcutta and Rajasthan Royals' point of view, they really need to look at this as a try and achieve the victory first. If they go into into a mindset of coming together a thumping victory, then sometimes you just fall off the radar, a few quick wickets, and then you're lost, and then you will not even be able to accumulate the points. So they will first hope that Punjab lose in the opening match. If that does not happen, you can still, the first idea should be to try and win the match, because there is still an outside chance that if one of the Delhi and Bangalore loses to the other big, then again they may come into the picture with the run rate. So you try and secure the win first. If you are in a position to win comfortably, then try and get those runs off quickly, and then hopefully wait for the other results to come your way. So that's the best way of looking at it. You've got yourself in this desperate situation, so try and get one victory for your fans and see if that is true towards the end.
Right, and once again, this brings me to something which Mahendra Singh Dhoni has reiterated throughout his career in the IPL. He has always mentioned that if you're losing, ensure that you don't lose big. Take the game to the last over. Try and get as many runs as possible if you're chasing big and not able to chase that target. Because somewhere KKR, RR, teams like these would think that there were opportunities, there were matches where they could have managed to win big, but perhaps taking up too many balls, or perhaps allowing leaking runs here and there, which eventually accumulate, and towards the end of the season, this is where you are stuck, because if you don't have enough victories, then you are dependent on net run rate. And RR and KKR, both these teams have been guilty of letting their net run rate plummet like anything. When they've lost majorly, And that is something which perhaps now DC would also be thinking, because they have also lost their last 3 or 4 matches by huge margins, and that is the reason why they see their net run rate falling from a positive 0 point something to a negative minus 0.1. So that's huge. But let's move on now to our trump card section, where we'll talk about the people who may matter. Mohammad Shami is what we've gone with Rasesh in the first match. And of course, in the second match, we're going with the informed Ben Stokes. Both these players perhaps have the capability of turning the matches for the respective franchises.
Yes, they do, and I still believe that CSK's batting order is susceptible. So if Shami brings his A game, he might be able to trouble them just a little bit. So they got to believe that they can do it. I mean, they've pulled together those 5 victories. Now is the time to make it count. We know there's no guarantee that they'll make it to the playoffs with this win. But the best way of putting the opposition on the back foot is Shami getting those crucial wickets at the beginning, and then of course he's learned the art of nailing in Yorkers towards the end. So Shami is my trump card, and we picked him up basically for his ability I mean, he's looked a much improved T20 bowler in this league.
Right, it looked a much improved T20 bowler, and of course Ben Stokes. What a time to come into form for his team, doing it with the bat, and they would need a special from him. Rajasthan Royals, that is the one thing that they have going for them right now. They've got their overseas players doing well for them. Sanju Samson is also back. So if they bat first, then they would look to put up a huge total on the board.
Yes, they would. And, Stokes has been sensational in the past 2 matches. And the fact that he's now got his bowling right as well, he's begun to bowl those tough overs and do it well, sort of makes him an ideal candidate for a trump card. So, yeah, the team will rely heavily on him. Interestingly, Ben Stokes said, even if we don't make it, we want to go down with a bad smell for the other teams. I don't know what he means by that, but he obviously wants to, make it count towards the end. So, yeah, these were always going to be the men that mattered for Rajasthan Royals, the likes of Stokes, Butler, Archer has made it count, and then Samson, you're right, came up with that terrific innings in the previous match as well. So, and we'll wait and see if KKR find Russell coming back into the mix. So it's an interesting contest. There are a lot of contests within contest as well, but both the teams sort of aware of the fact that even if they win, there's no guarantee that they'll make it to the playoffs. So something that might just, it's just coming up with the right mindset is what would matter probably for these two sides.
Yes, and as a true tribute to the true Bond, Sean Connery, who passed away yesterday, perhaps it's time to give some of these players the license to kill. All right then, thanks for watching Battleground T20. We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow will be an important episode for all of us because we'll discuss so many permutation combinations. A match coming up tomorrow which might decide the fate of either RCB or DC. So stay tuned to Battleground T20. Lots more to discuss. Thank you very much.